I thought I would share a short film that I made a couple of years ago with N.K. Jemisin. She wrote an essay called The People Beneath the Clouds, which she wrote about how there were no black people in the Jetsons, and she wondered where all the black people and brown people had gone. So I took that idea and I made a short film. I'm not gonna
The title, How Long Till Black Future Month, comes from an essay that I wrote a few years back, where I was actually really talking about Janelle Monáe. In the process, I was talking about what it was that I really loved about her work, which is that she shows black people in the future. In her videos, in her songs, she's engaging with not only the aesthetics of showing black liberation, but the implications, the follow-up. How is the future changed by our presence? My early encounters with science fiction kind of suggested that black people didn't have a future. When I was a kid, I used to like the TV show TheJetsons. I thought it was cool. As I got older, though, I was watching The Jetsons, and it suddenly occurred to me that there's not a single black person in The Jetsons. Not in the background, there's just nobody. It finally occurred to me that, The Jetsons takes place in this city above the clouds. We don't know what's below the clouds. That whole society, whatever's going on down on the ground, they left a whole bunch of people behind. They left black people behind. They left everybody except middle class, middle American white people behind. And that's when it finally occurred to me. That's where the black people are. Either they are below the clouds dead, in whatever horrific apocalypse forced people to build cities in the stratosphere, or they're down there doing their own thing, but whatever it is, I don't know if it's as good a thing as living above the clouds. What I do want to understand is, and what I need to understand as a writer is, why is it that we don't automatically assume that any of us is going to make it above the clouds, and how do we create a future in which we do end up among the people in the clouds? If it comes to that. I was watching The Jetsons, and it suddenly occurred to me that there's not a single black person in The Jetsons. We don't know what's below the clouds. And that's when it finally occurred to me. That's where the black people are.
I have a confession to make. Ever since I made The People Beneath the Clouds, people have asked me to do a follow-up for it. I really didn't know how to do that because, I interviewed Nora twice, but I did it for Hachette Book Group, so I'm not with them anymore, and I just can't call her up and say, hey, you want to do another video? The truth is, I do have a follow-up, like a sequel, and I will show it to you right now. You're not going to have to tilt your phone. I made it for this format. I'm a little apprehensive to show this thing because these things never live up to, the ask. People are like, oh man, you've got to do another one. And then you do it and they're like, oh, why'd you do that? So for better or for worse, this is the follow-up to The People Beneath the Clouds. This is a little shorter than the original, but I hope you like it. Enjoy.
Monuments of scientific wonder. That's what they called it. When their grands and great-grands moved on, they left their ill-gotten wealth to their descendants to ascend from the earth they so recklessly and carelessly abused. When the cloud cities were first built, they had high hopes for themselves. Those who they left behind, well, they didn't think much of us to have any sort of hopes for our future. Our very presence, in fact, was of no concern. Best we be forgotten, left to fend for ourselves, which we surely would fail and eventually, maybe even die out. As always, with a great many things, they were wrong. Turns out, in fact, we just needed to get those folks out of the way. We didn't need them to tell us what we were capable of. We certainly didn't need them to tell us how to live. Our ancestors taught them everything they wanted to know, what served their needs. and they ignored the rest. We certainly never wanted them to tell us how to love. Most of what they wanted, much of what they desired, was based on how much they resented us. For once, we can breathe, we can stretch, we are free.